Hello, welcome back to Up the Villa. Welcome to Transfer Hub, your home of Aston Villa's transfer news, links, rumours, murmurings. You name it, you find it here on Up the Villa and Transfer Hub. A lot of you are really enjoying the transfer content. Hopefully, it starts to ramp up in a gear where we're linked with players, we're signing players, we're negotiating, and I just want to get to that stage, really. But we've got negotiations the other direction. So we're going to get into it. We've got a bit of news this morning about Emiliano Martinez. We've got some news on some other players as well. And we're going to have a chat about not a rule change that's coming in, but a format of interviews that are going to be coming into the Premier League. And we'll start with that, and I'll be interested to get your thoughts. So, players are going to be interviewed once they've been substituted. We're going to have half-time interviews with the managers, and we're also going to have dressing room broadcasts. So, these are coming into the Premier League, and I want to get your thoughts on it. I absolutely hate the idea of it. I just don't like it. Some people might like it, but for me, I don't like it. And I imagine one man won't like it. Unai Emery will not like being interviewed at half time. You know, before the games, he brings out a bit of personality, doesn't he? And you know, some of the questions that he gets asked, he gives really sharp, blunt, but quite quirky answers. And I just think he's in game mode, he's in game state, and he just doesn't want to be. He's so invested in the team and the tactics and the style, and you see that from the touchline. I just don't feel like it needs it. I think we get everything that we need after the game from the managers, their thoughts, the players are the same, and it's all about just becoming a bit of a circus, and it's just not for me. You know, I don't want to hear Unai's thoughts at halftime, really, because he's not. What's he going to say? He's not going to say anything. So that aspect of it, I just think is pointless. The players, again, I mean, it might be quite funny if a player gets dragged off that doesn't really want to be dragged off, and you know, them moody players that just sit there with a face on them and look a bit upset that they've been took. I mean, that might be a bit of entertainment. The broadcast in the dressing room, it would be intriguing, but at the same time, I like the aspect of it, that I like the unknown aspect of that, to be honest. You know, even say sometimes seeing inside a dressing room, and some teams do it, don't they? Nottingham Forest do it, Newcastle do it. Again, that's not for me. And I'll give you a prime example why it's not for me. So I'll kind of back up my point a little bit. I'm a massive Formula One fan, and I've been a Formula One fan all my life. I'll get up early, I'll watch the races. The worst part of F1 is the grid walk at the start. When Brundle goes down the grid and he's talking to celebrities, and I just don't like it. I don't like and I know they're not the drivers, but I just don't like that vibe. I don't like the fiasco that goes into it, and it's just not for me. So I'd love to know your thoughts on whether you would like to see that. But for me, it's all part of football becoming a show and a Netflix drama, and just taking away from the game. Like, I want to watch the game, and I have been watching the Club World Cup slightly. I've been watching games, but the best part about it is James Alcott doing the press and going through games tactically on a tactics board, taking a look at football. Now, that for me is an area that I really want to see football go down. And I think we're starting to see it sometimes now, where they're starting to delve a little bit more tactically. I can't remember what it was. I don't know. I'm going to say, was it the Champions League final when they broke down. They had a segment before the game. I'm sure it was the Champions League final, and they had a segment of like how each team plays, how this player gets forward, how that. And I just thought it was so refreshing to see that level of analysis before a game, rather than just having pundits that have played the game just chat a load of waffle that I'm not really interested in. So I'm more interested in seeing that element being brought into how football's broadcast. But for me, I'm just not bothered about hearing what a sub's got to say or Unai's got to say at halftime, because he's not going to give anything away. So maybe that might be for you. And if it is for you, let me know whether that's the type of thing that you'd want to see. But like I say, it's definitely not for me. So we've got some news here now of a link of Emi Martinez going to Chelsea. And this is something that I could potentially see happening. So reports in Argentina saying that Enzo Maresca wants Chelsea to rival Manchester United for the signing of Aston Villa goalkeeper Emiliano Martinez, according to reports in Argentina. So this one, I think, probably has a bit of something in it, because Chelsea are looking for a goalkeeper. They've looked at Mike Maignan. They've looked at others, and Martinez, for me, I could actually see him at Chelsea. I could see him in a Chelsea kit for some reason. I think they've got Champions League football. They've got Enzo Fernandez, Argentinian link in there as well. And I just feel like they probably would pay what we are looking for. Now, I think the problem with Martinez to Chelsea would be the age. I think you look at a lot of Chelsea's signings, a lot of them are pretty young with massive resale value, massive contracts. So if you're getting Emi Martinez on I'm going to say a 4-year deal, but Chelsea probably a 9-year deal, and then they'll probably have like a care package for him at the end of it. But a long deal, big wages, but a safe pair of hands. I think that's probably been Chelsea's biggest problem with their goalkeepers, of none of them are really safe. And I think Martinez probably is safe, Premier League proven quality. So I could see potentially something in that. So that's one to keep an eye on, especially. A player that we've been linked with, Jesus Rodriguez, looks like he's signing for Como. So it looks like Aston Villa weren't really in for Rodriguez. 20 million or 22 million euros is the fee that has been reported. So again, I read into that 20 mil. We can afford 20 mil. So we obviously weren't really in for him. Hopefully we're in for players like Bakayoko, those types of players, and players of that ilk who maybe can come in straight away and catapult us further up the Premier League. And then we've got a rumour today, and I think there's pretty much legit, concrete negotiations with this one. We've got Baz Cooper, who is saying that Hull are offering for Louis Barry. Louis Barry was at Hull on loan, wasn't he? So, again, they've got that connection there. If we can get this one ironed out, done before Monday, what do we reckon Louis Barry's worth? 12 mil plus add-ons, potential to add it up if he gets promoted or called up to England or those situations. So I think we could maybe a 12 push it up to 17, 18 with add-ons that hopefully can be quite realistic. Maybe not the England one, but I don't know actually. But I don't know whether that's realistic or not, but especially goal bonuses, Premier League bonus, I think we could add something on to a deal for that. We've got Kesler Hayden, who potentially could be leaving as well. So all of those combined could make in and around 20, which I imagine is the fee that we are looking for with PSR really. So it's got a bit quiet, which I'd say that's quite good. I'd say that's quite good. We're still quite quiet. I don't know whether some teams are going to bid and try and shred out a deal, another deal that Fabrizio, and he does this, Fabrizio, and I'm not sure whether he just does it because he just touts names about. But this is why I think he's different now to David Ornstein. Is that Fabrizio was on his podcast yesterday night, and he was sort of saying that Morgan Rogers has clubs looking at him. There's a lot of clubs that are willing to have Morgan Rogers, but Villa are closing the door, and it would take a substantial fee, and along those lines. And it's along those lines of not a lot of information, really. Of course, teams want Rogers or Eze or those type, but you've got to pay the money to get them. So, he was mentioning Rogers, but I think Rogers is pretty safe, really. But like I say, I have been watching the Club World Cup a little bit just to see how it's going. I've not sat down and watched a full game. I've watched just like 20-minute spells and keeping an eye on Man City really to see how they've been playing. And PSG, I watched a bit of Atletico, etc. And Man City look good. I mean, two clubs that have massively strengthened, Liverpool, Man City. They look like they've just moved away from everybody else at the minute. But the transfer windows, it's very early, and I'm very relaxed about it. I think we'll get all of our business done July, August, and I just think that some teams can move away early in a window, and then other clubs can do their business and close the gap. So, I'm not too concerned. I don't really sort of think about other teams' business to compare it to ours. I've just been watching Man City to see what they've been doing tactically, really. But yeah, so I just think it is what it is. We'll do our business when we feel like we need to. I think the only thing is for fans, it's like you just get that little bit of edgy, squeaky. You want things to be done, but we have to just be patient and just wait it out, and we have to trust the people that are running Aston Villa. We have to trust them. There's no point doubting them now. It's like I remember last pre-season when everyone was getting squeaky bum about the games and the results and how we were playing, and then we start the season, we win our first handful of games and everything's okay. So it's just about trusting the process, trusting Emery, trusting the owners, trusting Monchi, and everything will be fine. There will be a plan in place. We're not going into Monday, for example, and we get to Monday and we're like, oh my God, we've not sold anyone. And it's like, no, we are relaxed. I think we are pretty chill, and there's a lot of outside noise, but it's about holding your nerve and being calm and just trusting Villa. So yeah, so that's the news that's been going around at the minute then. So if there is any other updates, then I will come on and share them with you all. Just want to say one thing before I go. And some of you will be aware, some of you will be watching, some of you will be aware of my, I would say kind of side hustle. And it's completely different to Up the Villa. And it's something that I'm sort of working on and trying to improve my delivery on certain aspects. So I've got a second channel called The Villains, and I would love it if you aren't subscribed, I'll put the link in the description, or you can search it. And it's completely different to this. So I'll show you what it's about. So what I'm basically doing is taking a look at different Villa players, different different elements of Aston Villa. So on this one, I'll go through the data and the stats of Donyell Marlon and getting Marlon into the Villa system. And I also take a look tactically at some of his games that he's been playing for the Netherlands. So we take a look at his movement, the area that he likes to get into, and it's just a little bit more in depth. We've got more like nice little graphics that we got going on that I introduce into it. So movement, interaction, etc. These episodes take quite a lot of time for me to do as well. So, I'm putting a lot of time into these episodes when I do them. But this was the Donyell Marlon one. And it was all about how to unlock Donyell Marlon and get him into the Villa system. And I really enjoyed it. We went through a lot of all of the good stuff, the goals. We went to the tactical board of how we can get him in and the rest of the team moving around him as well. So a completely different feel to Up the Villa. The branding is different, the channel looks different, etc. And yeah, I've done 20 episodes now. I've done some before. So the recent ones are the Donyell Marlon. We did a rating every Aston Villa player at the end of the season as well. So it's like bonus content that's just totally different, and it's not as obviously as consistent as this. There's probably one episode a week, but going into next season, there'll be a different feel to that channel as well. So yeah, if you really want to help support me and watch something a little bit different from me, then you can go ahead and subscribe, and the link will be in the description to this. So go and check it out. The Marlon one was actually quite good. It was actually quite good. So I'm working on a new episode for that as well. That will be coming out on Sunday. So yeah, it'll be like a week since the last one. So good time. You don't have to watch it straight away. There's a little bit more longevity with them. The fact that they don't sort of have a run out period. Whereas, a lot of the stuff we do on this channel, it's like it's instant news, etc. So even like match reactions, you're not going to watch a match reaction a week later, are you? So these ones sort of, you could watch these, say, 2 weeks later, and they will still hold presence. So yeah, just get involved if you want to get involved. Show your support by subscribing. So cheers everyone. If there's any other Villa news, I'll be back later on today or this afternoon. Up the Villa.